The elderly man deliberately concealed his identity and came to his own company to test his future granddaughter-in-law's character. Unexpectedly, the elevator indicated it was overloaded. The new female supervisor who stepped in, relying on her position at the company, pushed the old man out of the elevator. Luckily, a girl who had come for an interview caught him in time. "How could you push an old man? It was you who made the elevator overweight. If someone has to get out, it should be you." The supervisor demanded she leave, asking if the girl even knew who she was. The girl didn't care about her status and immediately told her to apologize to the old man. Hearing this, the supervisor's colleagues began to mock the girl, saying she must be a new hire here to be coming to interviews, otherwise how could she not recognize a company supervisor? The supervisor also had another identity. She was the CEO's fiancée. She smirked and ordered them both to get out at once or face consequences, then slammed the elevator doors without hesitation, not realizing that the two people she'd pushed out weren't ordinary. The old man noticed that the girl was beautiful and kind-hearted and asked her name. She replied. Hearing her name, the old man was instantly reminded of the granddaughter-in-law he had met before. She seemed to have the same name. What the girl didn't know was that this in turn before him was his granddaughter-in-law. A year earlier, the girl's grandmother had suddenly fallen ill and urgently needed a large sum for surgery. To raise money quickly, the girl worked 8 jobs in one day, riding her little electric scooter between them. One day, the scooter's brakes suddenly failed, and she accidentally crashed into the CO by the roadside. "Why were you driving so recklessly? You almost killed someone," he shouted. The girl quickly apologized and explained that it wasn't on purpose. She was rushing to meet someone who had agreed to lend her money for her grandmother's surgery. When he heard this, he felt compassion and offered to cover the hospital bills, but only if she agreed to marry him by contract for a few months, to ease his grandfather's pressure for him to settle down. The girl hesitated, but eventually agreed, because her grandmother's life was at stake. It turned out that the CEO, to quiet his grandfather's pressure to get married, had told his assistant to find him a contract wife. By a series of mistakes, he assumed the scooter rider in front of him was that contract bride, and without another word insisted on taking her to register the marriage certificate. In less than an hour after meeting, these two strangers got a marriage certificate. Right after registering, the CEO handed her a black card with $3 million on it, saying it was a year's living expenses. The marriage would last 1 year, and during that year she only needed to win the grandfather's favor, and she should not expect anything else that didn't belong to her. After leaving his contact information, he turned and left. They had agreed to divorce after a year, but shortly after the CEO returned to the country, his grandfather angrily called, asking when the granddaughter-in-law would come to visit him. With no choice, the CEO planned to put up with his grandfather for a while before mentioning divorce. During that time, both parties' marriage certificates were accidentally lost, and they completely forgot each other's appearances. Coincidentally, the grandfather also came to the company to issue an ultimatum. If he didn't bring his granddaughter-in-law home within the month, then he would disown him as his grandson. But when he saw his grandson, he told him that someone named Song Shining came for an interview at your company. "You must hire her," the grandfather ordered. He replied, "Our company hires based on ability. When someone comes in for an interview, they must have the skills. That girl Song Shining, she's beautiful and kind. I like her." Finally, he agreed to hire her. The CEO skimmed through her CV with clear reluctance before telling his assistant to hire her and hand her some documents to get started. On her way out of the office, she accidentally bumped into him. She nearly lost her balance, but he caught her in his arms, leaving them both in an awkward moment. His eyes lingered on her face. He thought he recognized her, though he wasn't entirely sure. She quickly apologized, stooping to collect the scattered documents, and their heads knocked together, adding to the tension. Later, he quietly asked his assistant to fetch a copy of the marriage certificate. Meanwhile, the girl returned to her desk, unaware of what was unfolding. Moments later, the assistant hurried back confirming that she was indeed the very woman the CEO had married a year earlier. Before the shock could settle, the arrogant manager stormed in. Enraged by the news, she grabbed her roughly, hurling insults and trying to drag her away. At the same moment, The CEO, still uncertain, picked up his phone and dialed the number listed on the certificate, determined to know the truth once and for all. You will be so shocked by what happened next.